And for the first time, there was a new school of thought that was chemically induced that made people question the very society they lived in. By 1960, the President of the United States was only 42 years old. Can you imagine? DMX is older than that. And he was going to usher in a new era of peace. He was going to avoid the Cold War. He was going to end segregation. And they blew his brains out in front of everyone in Dallas. This country was never the same.
Right now, if you had them prepare themselves in whatever way they would have to prepare themselves to come to battle, and I bet what I have, everything I have, that meatloaf.
Are there any good white people in the world?
There may be, but it doesn't matter. And you know why? No matter how good an individual white person may be, they have an obligation to look out for the best interests of the white race.
I seen this dude screaming, crying, saying, "You fuckers did it right now. I don't want to hear nothing from you self-righteous libs, Democrats. We're coming for you." Knowing damn well the person that did it, y'all know what it is. Betty White.
All right, y'all. We need to have a real conversation about how these Charlie Kirk fans are trying to shift the blame onto black and brown folks. And why? Just because people aren't mourning a man who once claimed that black people were better off before civil rights since they supposedly committed fewer crimes.
Did less crimes.
This shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad, it was evil, but what happened? Something changed. They committed less crimes.
And the same people who mocked Breonna Taylor, Tamir Rice, George Floyd, and so many other black victims of police violence are suddenly furious over how folks are reacting to Charlie Kirk. And honestly, it's hard not to notice the hypocrisy. Now, black celebrities are chiming in, and the responses couldn't be more divided. Some are choosing their words carefully, but others are making it clear they have zero sympathy for Charlie. 50 Cent even posted something so wild that he ended up deleting it after major backlash. On top of that, some of Charlie's own followers are now threatening his life. Yet these same voices stayed silent about the victims of a Colorado school shooting that happened just hours after Charlie was killed. Amanda Seales doubled down, saying flat out that she has no empathy for Charlie. But then there's Dr. Umar, taking the middle ground and warning the black community not to celebrate his death. So, what do these reactions really mean? Is it all just shock value, or does it reveal something deeper about America's divisions? Stick with me, because I'm breaking down exactly what these celebs said, what they tried to erase, and why their takes are shaking up the conversation around Charlie Kirk's assassination.
Men, women, and children were killed in violent lynch mobs.
That's your explanation, but
racial terror permeated American culture for hundreds of years.
Black America is worse than it has been.
That affected?
The first celeb to jump in was none other than 50 Cent. And of course, he didn't come with some polished PR statement. In classic 50 fashion, he stirred the pot. He posted a screenshot of the exact moment Charlie Kirk was shot and captioned it with, "Want to know how I feel about this? I don't know, but I do know it's a good time to shut the F up." Naturally, Charlie Kirk's supporters lost it. They called him heartless, accused him of celebrating Kirk's death, and flooded the comments with demands to cancel him for good. Some even went as far as making direct threats, with posts like, "Hope you're next." Clearly, the he was too much, because within hours, 50 deleted the post. But here's the thing. Not everyone thought he was wrong. A lot of people defended him, reminding folks that Charlie Kirk built his career on downplaying black suffering, pushing racist conspiracy theories, and mocking victims of police violence. Their point was simple. Why should we show empathy for someone who never gave us any? One fan put it bluntly, "I'm not feeling sympathy for a man who would have called me every slur in the book. Sorry, bookie." Another person said, "This outrage is all performative." Meanwhile, no one bats an eye when parents bury their kids after school shootings. And then came D.L. Hughley. You already know he doesn't hold back. He shared a TikTok video where the creator highlighted the irony in Charlie's own words, specifically when he said some shooting victims were a price worth paying if it meant keeping his guns. Yep, that's a direct quote. Charlie actually argued that gun deaths were worth it.
I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational.
But D.L. Hughley wasn't done. He came back swinging when he posted a clip of Speaker of the House Mike Johnson asking Congress to pray for Charlie Kirk and his family. D.L. wasn't buying it, and he called out the double standard immediately. In his caption, he wrote, "Did Mike Johnson ever do this for school shooting victims? Did he offer prayers for Congresswoman Hortman and her husband Mark after they were unalived?" Then, when the news dropped that Trump ordered U.S. flags to fly at half-mast for Charlie Kirk, DL exploded again. He reminded everyone that Trump had once raised flags back up after they were lowered for the Pope, yet never lowered them for innocent children killed in school shootings or for Congresswoman Hortman. DL's words cut deep. Is it a tragic event? Yes. But does it deserve that ceremony? You already know the answer. And just when you thought he'd cool off, DL doubled down. He called out the blatant hypocrisy of the right, pointing out how Charlie Kirk and his followers always mocked empathy as weakness. Yet now, those same people are begging for empathy for a man who openly said he couldn't stand the word and thought it was
a made-up term.
Bill Clinton in the 1990s, it was all about empathy and sympathy. I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage, but
I have watched any number of people of all kinds of stripes, people, theologians, politicians, people who consider themselves activists, all kinds of people on the conservative right talk about empathy, and they talked about empathy as if it was a pariah, empathy as if it was a moral failing, and they referred to empathy as a weakness. And it's interesting that they would call themselves Christian and be anti-empathy, because that is the tenet, a core tenet of Christianity. So that is being a Christian without the empathy is like being a sushi chef without the fish. But empathy is apparently a weakness to a lot of people, and you never know. But I have always believed and hold this now, that empathy is quintessentially human. It is the core of humanity. It certainly is the core of Christianity, if you call yourself Christ-like. But how is it that you can despise empathy, that you think it is a weakness, that you think that people are susceptible to it, like it's the cold or the flu, and that you despise empathy, but would like it when someone who you love is hurt or killed? We can either decide to be human and empathic, whether we relate to, like, or understand a person or not. But in America, nothing is more American. Nothing is more quintessentially who we are than violence against people we disagree with, and then having a lack of empathy when we don't relate to them, when we don't like them, when they don't look like us. I don't know how you can be a Christian nation and call yourself a Christian nation and extol the virtues of Christianity, but only be empathic when they look like you. That's not Christianity. That's not humanity. That's tribalism.
But DL still wasn't finished. He later dropped a video compilation titled Hate and Bigotry, Charlie Kirk's Real Legacy. And if that wasn't enough, DL also shared a clip where Charlie straight up denied George Floyd was killed by police and proudly admitted he wanted Derek Chauvin set free. Then DL hinted at an even bigger angle that most people are ignoring, the idea that Charlie may have been taken out by the very same people he spent years defending. He wrote, "Remember when Trump was shot? Immediately, it was radical leftists and liberal extremists that. But in the end, it was somebody from his own side. And he didn't stop there." DL added, "When you point one finger at somebody else, there are always three pointing back at you." Now, let's be clear. DL wasn't cheering for anyone's death. What he was doing was breaking down the political and racial hypocrisy, showing how gun violence only becomes a national tragedy when the victim fits a certain mold. But of course, Charlie's fans weren't having it. They accused DL of deflecting, disrespecting the dead, and excusing the shooter. On the flip side, plenty of others said DL was right, that critics were just trying to manufacture a race war because black folks weren't crying over Charlie the way they wanted. And DL isn't the only one under fire. Amanda Seales is also catching heat after making it clear she wasn't about to fake sympathy for Charlie Kirk. During an IG Live, Amanda clapped back at people telling her to show empathy. She reminded them that Charlie himself mocked empathy, calling it bad, fake, and some new age made-up nonsense. Amanda explained that there was no way she could put herself in his shoes because she simply couldn't relate to anything about his worldview. She said, "I can't have empathy for somebody like Charlie Kirk." First of all, Charlie Kirk didn't even believe in empathy. He said it was a bad thing. He said people had to be sacrificed to protect guns. If he'd been saying all that while fighting for reparations, maybe I'd have some empathy. But this was white-on-white violence. He died. Damn, B, life comes at you fast.
Can relate to.
I can't have empathy for someone like Charlie Kirk. First of all, Charlie Kirk don't believe in empathy. He said it's a bad thing. He said it's some new age made up shit. He also said people got to be sacrificed in order to protect guns. If he was saying that while fighting for reparations, I may have a little bit of empathy. But this white on white violence, he died? Damn, B. Life comes at you fast. I can't have empathy for someone like Charlie Kirk because I cannot be in his shoes. I have no frame of reference for that. I have no cognizance for that. There literally is nothing about his existence that I can relate to.
Now you already know Charlie's fanboys wasted no time coming after Amanda. And it wasn't just white folks. Black men on X were calling her every name in the book. Scum, the B word, idiot, sociopath, piece of trash, you name it. Meanwhile, some white users went as far as saying she should be deported, ranting about so-called black fatigue. But here's the thing, Amanda also had plenty of defenders. A lot of people reminded folks that Charlie Kirk built his career off racist, anti-black rhetoric, and Amanda wasn't celebrating his death at all. She was simply refusing to fake sympathy for someone who had done so much harm. One supporter put it perfectly. Nowhere did she celebrate his death. She said she doesn't have empathy for him. And remember, Charlie himself said empathy was dangerous and fake. So why should we suddenly extend empathy he never gave to anyone else? Is it sad he was killed? Sure. But do we all have to care? Absolutely not. He spread lies and hate, and we're supposed to forget that now? No thanks. Another fan went even further. Amanda's too real. That's why the media doesn't like her. They didn't like Malcolm X either. Salute to her. She's braver than your favorite rapper and your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. But then came Dr. Umar Johnson, and people thought he'd be on the same page as Amanda. Nope. Umar decided to lecture black folks about their reactions to Charlie's death, saying all the jokes and memes crossed a line. On IG he wrote, "While I did not agree with Mr. Kirk's rhetoric and considered him an anti-black bigot, I will never rejoice in the loss of life unless that person directly harmed our community. I am ashamed to see some of us celebrating. Political assassinations have historically targeted our people. Stop laughing at others' misfortunes and get prepared. The deep state is back." But Umar's followers weren't having it. They accused him of moralizing and softening his stance. One person clapped back, "Would you write this if it was you they shot? Just wondering." Another said, 50 lashes for you, Umar. You think non-black folks would post something like this for you? Stop giving your energy to vampires. So yeah, the internet is on fire over this. And let's be real, that's exactly the point. Whoever was behind Charlie's assassination wanted division, and they got it. The country is more fractured than ever. The truth is, all these reactions, from celebs to politicians to everyday people, prove how easily violence gets weaponized to split us apart. And at the end of the day, the outrage is exactly what the act was designed to trigger. So what do you think about all this? Are we even capable of stepping back and looking at the bigger picture? Or are we too far gone, too divided, and too busy fighting each other to realize we're all being played by the same puppet masters? Drop your thoughts in the comments, y'all, and I'll see you in the next video.